Nobody told me this about startups, that you can raise millions, work 100 hours a week, and still end up with no freedom, no cash flow, and no lifestyle. I learned it the hard way when I went through that. I raised $4 million for my startup. On the outside, it looked like I was winning. It was everything I thought I wanted. But in reality, I was exhausted, paying myself almost nothing, and had zero time to actually live my life. And this isn't just about me. This is what happens to most founders. They spend years chasing some big exit, and in the process, they give up everything else that really matters. I was lucky. I realized that trap early, and I found a way out. And that's what I want to share with you in this video. How to actually get out of this loop before it's too late. So every business, no matter the industry, no matter the model, only gives you value in three ways. First, there is the exit value. That's the long-term equity you're building, the business you can eventually sell for a big payday. Second, there is cash flow. That's the money you can actually pay yourself from the business. Not vanity metrics like valuation on paper or top-line revenue, but a good salary you can live off, or even better, dividends that come out of your profit. And third, lifestyle. The freedom to choose how you spend your time, where you live, how healthy and balanced your life feels. Now, if your business only gives you one of these, it's not enough. To really win, you need at least 2 out of 3. That's what got me out of the trap. And once I started implementing it, the trajectory of my career went up. We call it the golden triangle. And I'll show you how you stop building businesses that take everything from you and finally start running the ones that actually give you the life you want. Let's first start with what keeps most founders trapped. Exit-only trap. So back in 2019, I was convinced the smartest way to play the game was to go all in on the exit. Raise money, scale fast, and sell big. That was the plan, at least. For me, it was the CBD marketplace. I thought I would build it up quickly and sell it to a large cannabis company from the US or Canada that wanted to enter the European market. It felt thrilling at first, and we were moving the needle. We raised millions, built traction, made headlines. Everything was working out just as I wanted it. But when your only goal is the exit, you give up everything else. And that's where I and many other founders go wrong. I wasn't building for cash flow. I wasn't building for my lifestyle. I was building for a PowerPoint dream that might never happen. The reality was brutal. I was working more and harder than everyone else. My salary was capped at below market rate because it helped the runway of the business. Every decision was about keeping the business alive long enough to raise the next round. If I tell you, it felt like I was running on a treadmill that only speeds up. No matter how hard I was pushing, I was never allowed to step off. In these circumstances, even if you survive, the odds of hitting that massive exit are close to 0. That's the exit-only trap. It looks glamorous, but it squeezes the life out of you and leaves you with nothing to build afterwards. Cash flow-only trap. While we were building the CBD marketplace, people kept asking us for marketing services and, in particular, SEO. Everyone in cannabis and CBD needed it, so we started an agency. It was never planned, but it was just meant to keep us alive a little longer, and we wanted to use this cash to reduce the burn of the marketplace and extend the time before we had to raise again. But funny enough, this idea of the side hustle turned into a real business. Within months, the agency was generating solid cash flow, and for the first time, I could actually breathe. But agencies rarely sell for much. There is not a huge exit waiting at the end of the rainbow. And on top of that, now I had a second business to run too, so lifestyle still sucked. Cash flow was better, but not amazing. And over time, as the agency scaled, I managed to hire more people and started delegating. That's when I finally got some breathing room. Now, let me connect this to why it matters. I used to work in high-paying finance, great salary, great bonus, but I had no exit value, no ownership, and no lifestyle. So I left that behind, thinking startups would give me a better life. But what really happened was that I traded the cash flow trap of corporate life for the exit-only trap of startups. The agency gave me some relief, more cash flow, less stress, but my lifestyle still wasn't great because I was juggling two businesses. So yes, cash flow matters. In fact, I'd rate it higher than anything else because it buys you time and options. But the real win is when you combine cash flow with either an exit potential or lifestyle freedom. That's when it gets interesting, and that's what I'm going to discuss next. Cash flow plus lifestyle. So we know what happens when you chase only an exit. You burn out. And we've seen what happens when you only chase cash flow. You get money, but usually you trade it for the cost of your time. So the real power is when you combine cash flow with lifestyle, because that's when you actually get the freedom. For me, that happened when we acquired a scented candles brand in the USA. We scaled it 8 times and turned it into a highly profitable business. We discontinued the hugely loss-making CBD marketplace in the UK. With that, we turned ourselves from a loss-making group of businesses into a profitable group. Now, owning a consumer brand and a marketing agency, that was a much better deal. Together with the agency, I now had 2 businesses that were both profitable and both could be run fully remote. That changed everything for me. I didn't need to stay in London anymore, where the cost of living is high and the weather is, well, let's say it's great. So I moved to Lisbon, same work, but now with 300 days of sunshine, a pool, daily workouts, and more time with my family. It's amazing what cash flow plus lifestyle buys you. I was finally in control of my time. I could work intensely on my businesses, but also step away to spend time with my family and take care of my health. And trust me, that's a trait I would make any day. The point here is having a profitable business that you can run remotely lets you design your lifestyle, live where you want, and not be stuck in the grind. So now, whenever I'm evaluating or acquiring a business, I ask one simple question. Does it give me the 2 out of these 3 factors? If not, it's not worth getting into. And that's what you should do as well. I call it the rule of 2. The combination of the variables could vary. For example, sometimes it's cash flow and lifestyle that we discussed above. Other times it's exit and lifestyle. This is the combination where you bootstrap and take a longer term approach. You're not racing to please investors. So you can grow actually slower, healthier, and with more freedom. From an acquisition perspective, you can even structure deals without raising from outside investors, which gives you more time and space to build. Yes, cash flow might be smaller in the short term, but you still protect your lifestyle and give yourself the chance for a meaningful exit later on. But the key is this: don't settle for just one. Because one-dimensional businesses almost always end up taking more than they give. This rule keeps things simple. If someone pitches me an idea or I see a deal, I see which 2 boxes does this tick. If the answer isn't clear, it's not worth my time or investment. Now, let me show you what this looks like in practice. Option 1, exit plus lifestyle. This is possible, especially if you bootstrap. You grow slower, but you grow healthier. It's a marathon. You keep control, you keep balance, and you still leave room for a meaningful exit in the future. Option 2, cash flow plus lifestyle. This is the shorter path. If you acquire that right business, you get both from day one. Stable cash coming in and the freedom to design your life the way you want. And sometimes, if it's the right business, you might even unlock an exit down the line. That's the beauty of this framework. It forces you to focus. Don't chase everything at once. Be intentional. That's how you stack the odds in your favor. Harsh truth. Because the harsh truth is that only one out of million founders ever make a unicorn exit. That's lottery odds, probably even worse. And on the other side, more than 90% of founders end up with no cash savings, no lifestyle, and broken health or relationships. That's the cost of chasing the wrong game. So if you're sitting there thinking, I'll just grind it out, raise some more money, and one day it will all pay off, realize the odds are stacked against you. The golden triangle isn't just theory. It's a way to tilt those odds back in your favor. That's how you avoid becoming part of the 90%. So before you start your next venture, ask yourself one simple question. Which two boxes will this business tick in a given amount of time? If the answer is less than 2, don't do it. That one rule alone can save you years of wasted time and frustration, and probably also a lot of money. And if you want more frameworks like this and more real stories about building and acquiring businesses, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, and I'll see you in the next episode.